Hello and welcome to the Community Partners Showcase. I'm Jared Cox with HCEC-TV and thank you so much for joining us. On this show we spotlight some of the great organizations in our community that's making a difference for Hardin County. And I'm so pleased to be joined by Don Cash, the Executive Director for the Warren's Blessings Community Kitchen. Don, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
So your organization is one that, especially being at ECTC for as long as I was, I know ECTC brings people down to volunteer there. It's an organization I know firsthand the great work that you all do. Can you talk a little bit about the history of Warren Blessings and how it got started?
Warren Blessings was founded in 2005. They started out, I believe, in the basement of College Heights Methodist Church. And they were founded by John and Kathleen Chadbourne. And they operated there until we bought the building in 2015. So they pretty much operated as a community service out of a community church. And they recognized the need to feed their neighbors, the Chadbournes did, and so that's why they went ahead and started this ministry for them.
And so many of these organizations, especially in small towns, but also in bigger cities, they start just from the kindness of people's hearts, realizing that need to foster a community inside the community to help everyone. And I'm so grateful that you're continuing that legacy.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what all do you offer, kind of for somebody that may not have heard of you all, or may have heard the name but don't really know what you all provide? So what all do you do for the community?
I think when people hear the word Warren Blessings, they typically think of dinner service, and that is a constant that we have always provided. Monday through Friday, we do a hot dinner. And that is served from 5:45 to about 6:30. And typically in years past, it had always been done dining style in the dining room. And our need has grown so much that we're not able to fit all of those people in the dining room. So when the pandemic hit, we went to carry out. I'm proud to say that the organization was open during the entire pandemic, and we found ways to get food and groceries to people. And we started doing carry-out once everybody started kind of coming back to volunteering. Because the need grew, we stayed with the carry-out, and we're now serving on average anywhere from 150 to 200 people a night. And of course, our dining room, it was for only 80 people, was the maximum in our dining room. And because we are serving so many more people, we now have half of that dining room as storage, and so we've dropped down to 40 people can be in the dining room. And so to do that in shifts with up to 400 people, we would be there quite late, and it would be rushing people in and out. And in years past, it was a place of community. People would come and talk to each other and meet and play cards. A lot of seniors were there during the day, and we've had to move more to a service that is takeout just to be able to accommodate everyone that we're serving at night. So we do that. We have blessing bags, which are grocery bags that people can come and pick up depending on what their ability is to cook and store food. And we prepare bags with at least 5 meals for every single person in the family. Because of our partnership with Feeding America, who provides us with most of that food, we are able to actually pack even extra things like produce and cereals and any kind of dairy products we might get. But we try and at least put together 5 meals for each person in the family.
One of the things that I'm so happy you mentioned, you all didn't close during COVID, because that need for food, just because there's a global pandemic, it doesn't mean that people can just stop eating. That's a service that you need regardless.
Yeah, correct. During the pandemic, everything was shut down, so even grocery stores, things like that. So, and the supply chain changed a whole lot. Through Feeding America, we were able to continue. We didn't do dine-in. We didn't do food because the majority of our workforce is volunteer and community, so people were staying at home. And so that's when we started the Blessing Bag program, where we put those together, put those 5 meals, and we would have them ready for people to pick up each week. And there were, it expanded to what I consider a true community service, because there were people who had been working, who had previously been working. They were laid off. They weren't able to access the unemployment system right away, and so money wasn't coming in. And so this helped people, fill in those gaps during COVID and be able to feed their families.
Yeah, and so many things changed for so many people during COVID. There were people that may not have been dependent on your services before. All of a sudden, were out of work. Maybe they worked at a grocery store. Maybe they worked at like an arena or something doing live entertainment. And when everything shut down, they kind of found themselves in some hard times. And really grateful that an organization like yours went there and really helped bless their family with some food and some stability during some hard times.
And it felt good to be open and busy during that time because everybody else was fairly isolated, and we had a really dedicated group of volunteers who would come in every week and help us to pack those bags, and then later on in the week would help us to distribute. And so, we just followed the protocol that the health department gave us and did, really well with being able to get those grocery bags out to people.
And you mentioned volunteers, and volunteers is one of the backbones of the service that you provide. And I know that you're always looking for volunteers.
Always looking for volunteers, and there's multiple ways to volunteer for Warm Blessings. We are currently looking for cooking teams. We have people who come in once a week to cook, to cook those meals. And so we have a Monday team, a Tuesday team, and we are currently looking to fill our Tuesday team. We had a long-term team who had been with us for years. They retired, and so we're looking to fill that space, and we're always looking to fill in spaces during the week to help people out as far as the teams go. We have serving teams that can serve in the evenings, and we opened up during the pandemic. We started having families come in because families were at home with each other, so they didn't feel uncomfortable being in the kitchen together. Right. And we would have entire families from, little bitty kids. We would find things for them, safe things for them to do, like wheel the carts out with the food, or sometimes just kind of hang out and keep us company up front while we were handing out food. But, the families would come in. We've had beta clubs, and so wide range of ages to come in and volunteer, and that's a lot of fun. There's day shelter volunteers who help us staff because we have 5 staff members. 3 of those staff members are full-time. 2 of them kind of work as needed. And the rest of our manpower is completely done with volunteers. Everything from unloading the trucks to cooking the food to assisting us with the day-to-day operations of, what goes on. Or
even preparing those blessing bags.
Yes, putting the blessing bags together. We've had whole teams of workplace teams come in. Last year, No Lynn came in during one of their serve days and just did nothing but fill up those bags and get them ready with the shelf staple things that we could, have sitting there, and then we added the cold food as people came in.
And whether it's a workplace or a business or a school or even a club, there's so many opportunities, or even a church. If you're looking for a community service opportunity, there's so many ways that you can get involved and help with such a great cause.
Yeah, thank you. We, like I said, it's the very core of what we do, and it is the huge community piece to it because it's neighbors serving neighbors, and I think that's the most important thing, is that not only do we bring awareness to what is going on in the community, but there's a definite connection, and that feels good. It really does.
And speaking of the community, your board of directors involves people that are right here in the community, that live here, that work here, people like your president, somebody I'm very familiar with, Dr. Danielle Lovell at WKU at E-Town, associate professor, program coordinator, Neil Gibbs, who is the assistant principal of the Hardin County Schools College Youth Campus, is one of your board members, as well as Shamika Hardin, who has worked in the Youth Service Center in Woodland Elementary.
And Neil is actually now the assistant principal at Bluegrass. And so those connections with the community help us so much. We get feedback from the staff at school that, in the school system that tell us, hey, this is something that you might want to look at. We're seeing a gap here, and how do we fill that need? And so getting feedback from them as to how we even get the information out to the families about what's available. And so they've been very, very instrumental, and they're great partners in not only helping advise us on programming, but also, just those connections within the schools.
And, your board of directors is so diverse. You have so many people involved in different things. Of course, you have, Dr. Lovell, who works, in colleges. You've got Neil Gibbs, who works in the middle schools. You've got, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
Tim Hahn?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you also have people that work at, like, German American Bank. You've got
That's
people
Tim,
from
yes.
all different assets of the community here in Hardin County that they're in the trenches in different ways. So they're able to bring all of these different perspectives of what the community needs.
Definitely. And, we have a small board right now. There are 7 board members, and we're always looking to expand that. So that's another way that people can get involved. They can give us advice about how to run the organization. The banking, for instance, he's our treasurer, and so we have made huge strides in being able to be, completely accountable and grant ready to apply for things. And so, and be able to invest some of our extra money that we have, that we've been gifted through the community foundation or different things, so that we can grow and be stable and be able to see some sustainability, so that when I'm gone, the next director walks in, just like I did, to a very financially stable organization that will be here in 10 or 15 years. And that's exciting for us. So having somebody banking, we have social workers on the board who are able to advise us on, policy and programming and how to do that. We have people who have been in HR that help us, because we've expanded. When I first came to work, it was myself and another lady who worked part-time, and we've expanded. So there's the HR concerns that you have to have, and in a small organization, we don't have an HR person. And so having people to advise us on how best to run the organization is really, really important.
And the need has grown for Warm Blessings, and it will continue to grow as Hardin County continues to expand.
Oh, definitely. And again, the changes we've seen. I started here in January of 2020, right before the pandemic. And so the year prior, they had served about 17,000 meals in 2019. Last year, we served 88,000 meals. This year, at the end of August, we're at 70,000 meals. And so the need continues to grow. But also, I think part of that is our increased partnerships that we have, like with Feeding America and other organizations that donate to our cause. We're able to reach more people that way. And so it was really, and having staff to be able to plan, organize all of those volunteers has really helped us to be able to expand our services and reach more people.
And even the pop-up events that you have done, those are things that you need somebody that can plan and organize those things, because when you go to a city like West Point or Upton, you need to know where you can set up, who you can talk to, how you get the word out that you're going to be there.
And the pop-ups were a brainchild of one of my staff members who said, we can't really get, people have a hard time getting to us. How do we get out there? And so at the time, before we had really expanded the food services, we used that opportunity to go out and meet people and tell them, about what we actually had available in the building, but also get that food out there. It also made us realize there are a lot of people in those more remote areas of Hardin County, such as Upton and Sonora and West Point, who have a hard time getting to us. And so how do we best serve them? And so we've been doing some planning and researching and field trips with Feeding America and looking at different programs about how we might in the future be able to reach people in the more remote areas. Because, I mean, we are not really centrally located. We are on the very south end of the county, and while it is easily accessible, it's not always easy for people to get to. And so we hope to, in the future, be able to expand that more. And, we have 2 other programs. We have what we call the Senior Meal Delivery, and it has been running for 10 years. It's an incredible program where we have it in Elizabethtown and Hardin County. It is completely run by volunteers, 2 sets of ladies who do it in both counties, and they manage all of their volunteers who pick up meals and deliver directly to the same senior. We do E-Town twice a week and Radcliffe once a week. And they are able to take them not only that hot meal, but any groceries they might need from the pantry. And they check on that. They have the same person. And so they check on that person, make sure they're doing well. And that's another extension of how they've been able to, be able to expand and get those services out there. And then we have what's called mobile meals. And during the prior to the pandemic, we had used our bus to go around and pick up people to actually bring them to the building. The van sat empty for a while, and so another one of our volunteers, Jose Torres, came up with the idea, hey, why don't we take this like a food truck and take it out to a community that might need us? So there is a community in Radcliffe that once a week, again, we take hot meals to them, but we also take things that they might need. And Jose and his other volunteers like Walt, Abrokta, and other people who ride on the bus with him, or the van, we call it the bus, ride on the van with him, have made relationships with these people in the community so that they know that they can count on us to be there once a week and can tell us what their needs are. And so we try and meet those with what we have in the building. And so it's a nice way to get out there too, and like I said, expand our services and understand that people can't always get to us.
And speaking of the needs of the community, one of the things that you all offer that I don't think really gets the publicity that it deserves is last year you facilitated 878 showers and 792 loads of laundry. When someone is in that predicament where they need a shower and they need laundry service, that is the difference to them. Maybe if there's a job interview, they need a shower, they need a fresh change of clothes. That could be the difference for them to be able to pick themselves up off their feet and land into a better place.
Definitely. We have what we call community services, and it's available throughout the day. Our staff provides what we call connection to services. So people can come into us at any time. This is, you can come to us for anything. It doesn't have to be somebody who's like necessarily homeless, or they may have problems filling out their SNAP benefits. They may have problems doing their Social Security. We get IDs for people. We're able to do that and get birth certificates and things like that. And then the services that we provide inside the building on a daily basis, other than that face-to-face, are the showers and the laundry. And, the laundry is helpful for people who don't have access to a washing machine. And going to the laundromat can sometimes be pretty expensive. And so you're trying to figure out, well, do I spend my money on clean clothes or do I pay the electric bill? And so, we offer that service. It's by appointment because, as you can imagine, we have to kind of keep that moving, to make sure we don't have people lined up waiting to do their laundry, because we do have one commercial washer and dryer, and then we have 2 showers that people can come in and take. But while they're in there, we serve breakfast, we serve lunch. If there's snacks, we put those out, fruit, things like that. But it gives us, again, the opportunity to touch base with people in the community and be able to provide them with information and connections with other services they might not know about. Community health clinic is one of those. People come in and say, well, I don't really qualify for Medicaid, but I don't have insurance where I work. And so we would then put them in touch and do that referral to the community health clinic so that they can get services. Baptist Hospital comes in and once a month and does their Wellness on Wheels or their WOW program, where people can come in and just have basic screening done. The health department has been there to do lots of really good education about things like Narcan. They make, the Narcan kits available and the training to tell people about it. There's a lot of misunderstandings, I think, about Narcan. And so they come in and talk to anybody who's coming through the door about that, or vaccinations, different programs that they have available. And so we are always open to having partners come in, set up a table. Feeding America comes in and does SNAP once a month, where they sign people up for SNAP benefits, and because that can be daunting, especially if you don't have a computer, or
absolutely.
So we have laptops available for people to come in and do job searches. We are partners with Goodwill, and so we can refer people who are wanting to up their job skills and go to programs like Goodwill and be able to find better employment than what they currently have. So those are nice partnerships that we have along the way.
In really making Warm Blessings that one-stop shop, as we were talking before the show, I'm from a remote area. I drive an hour to get here. And for some people, they may not be able to drive. They may not have the financial means to drive from one place to another place to another place. So being able to offer all those services under one roof for them to be able to get help finding, maybe finding a job or enhancing their job skills, or even getting their flu vaccine, or being able to get a checkup, being able to offer all those services under one roof could be the difference for a family.
Definitely, and that's kind of why I said, we changed our name to the Community Kitchen, so that people would understand that there are, community services available there, and if we don't have it there, we'll find a way to get you to what you need.
Really bringing that community in.
Definitely. And like I said, we've opened our doors to those partners. Volunteers of America meets with the people that they case manage, and it's a nice meeting place for people to come in and sit down and be able to meet with another service. And if the service can't come to us, if it's something that's really needed, we find a way to get those people to that service and make that, that connection, that warm handoff or that referral to that agency. So because the frustration of having to call, make multiple phone calls, and sometimes you don't even have that many minutes left on your cell phone. And so being able to make those handoffs and say, hey, I've got this person here, we want to send them over to you.
And for some people, they may not even have a phone.
Exactly. Or like I said, internet service. And so we're able to provide those things. People can come in and use the phone if they want to, and make their own phone calls and set things up. It's not always something that has to be generated by us. We have people who do not have a home address, and if they are being case managed by us, they're able to use our address as their home address to be able to get documents, sometimes paycheck stubs, things like that. So it's nice to have a home base.
For so many people, there are things that that people take for granted, that for other people, those are real barriers for them to be able to get on, not having something that they can consider a home address, for example. That's something, that people take for granted.
Definitely, and that's that's why we are there. We are there to remove as many barriers as possible. Sometimes it's not always possible to go over that next hump, and I think that's why in the future. I talked about the future of our food program, but in the future we'd like to look at some type of transitional housing. Right now housing is at a premium in Hardin County. It's very, very expensive, and a lot of the population that we serve that is houseless, they are working. They are working good jobs. It's just a matter of being able to have that period of time where there might be a barrier that keeps them from renting. So say, for instance, it might be a credit score, or it might be a charge on their record that's probably expungible. But you need time. You need a time frame to be able to make those things happen. And with transitional housing, anywhere from 18 to 24 months, and sometimes sooner. A person can get on their feet, save the money that they need to, and then be able to move into stable housing, because that's the goal.
Yeah, and things like security deposits, being able to pay, that first and last month's rent. People may have that steady job, but they may not have that much money saved up in a rainy day fund, or they may not even have a rainy day fund.
Exactly. And so, the ability, say, for instance, you want to keep shelter over your head, so you decide that maybe, okay, I'll stay in a hotel. Staying in a hotel is so expensive that you're not able to save those deposits. And so being in a more structured program that allows you shelter, allows you time to breathe and have a comfortable space of your own to be in, and plan for the future and work through a program with a case manager is really helpful. And the end goal is always going to be stable housing, so that, again, they become, they're our neighbors again. Instead of somebody who's maybe a little bit more transient, they become a citizen of Hardin County. And I think that's what our goal is for everyone.
And really, in the community coming in to support Warm Blessings and help them is such a needed thing. And one of the ways that people can support Warm Blessings, in addition to volunteering or partnering with you all, is supporting your gala. You're having your second annual gala coming up.
That is correct. We're having our second annual Harvest Gala. We try and do that in October, because that is National Hunger Month, and so it brings attention to the population in the county that we're able to serve. And we've always themed it around harvest time, which is kind of what we do. We harvest food and get it out to the community. And so that event is going to be taking place at the House on Helm. It's October 21st from 5 to 9, and we'll be having dinner, a wonderful dinner, cocktails before dinner. There'll be a lot of fun activities to do, and then we'll have a program that kind of highlights this year's theme. We're talking about the increase in the need and the demand for services, and how that is growing exponentially, and how people can continue to support Warm Blessings to help our neighbors.
And one thing, and I know that for people that live here in Elizabethtown, this is kind of looming as the Blue Oval plant starts to grow and starts to build. That increase in growth is only going to continue exponentially.
And what we're already seeing effects of that, whether it be more people coming to us because there's less housing, or more people just needing general services to prevent them from losing their housing. Housing is very expensive and at a premium in Hardin County. It's there wasn't a whole lot to begin with, and now we're being pushed to the limit. Correct. And we do continue to see the need grow. I think inflation has a lot to do with why we see the growth in services, and also the trickling back of benefits that people had gotten during COVID. And so it's kind of a perfect storm of what we're seeing. And while I believe that Blue Oval is going to bring tons of benefits regarding a wonderful tax base, expanded, we're getting new neighbors.
Yes.
We are going to have jobs available. I think it's going to be great for Hardin County. There are also things that, you got to look at in the long run that affect the infrastructure of any place when something really large like that comes in. So we hope to continue to be good neighbors and support everybody that we can. And so we are a low barrier organization, which means people don't have to income qualify. We don't ask for IDs. We don't ask for family income and things like that, mainly because it's a theory that we ascribe to, that Feeding America kind of partners with us on, and it's basically anyone who comes is welcome, and we will provide whatever somebody needs. And so, if we have new neighbors in the community that have needs of our services, we'll be there. But in the meantime, we're here to serve the people who, are seeing changes in their lives because of this. And like I said, we've seen a lot of changes, especially in the housing market, that maybe that will convince the county and the powers that be that we look at more affordable housing and how to build homes for the people who are, this is their home base. So.
Yes, and ascribing to the teachings of Mr. Rogers and being a good neighbor is so important, and supporting Warm Blessings is one way to do that. The second annual gala for Warm Blessings, October 21st at the House on Helm, 5 to 9 p.m. Tickets, you might want to get those soon. How can we get tickets?
Yeah, tickets are $125. We will be publishing them on Eventbrite shortly, probably in the next couple of weeks.
And we'll put that information at the bottom of the screen.
And it'll be on our Facebook page, too. There, you can go to our Facebook page. That's probably the most active way that we use to get the word out to the community about anything that's going on. If it's a delay in services, or if something new's happening, that's pretty much the quick way we get things out as far as social media goes. And then we have our website that people can always go to for information.
And that website is
warmblessings.org.
Ascribing to the teachings of Mr. Rogers and being a good neighbor. warmblessings.org to find out more information about all the services that Warm Blessings provides and how they can volunteer. And, of course, Warm Blessings on Facebook. Don, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you so much for watching us. Remember to be a good neighbor and support all of the great organizations that are helping people in Hardin County. For HCEC-TV, I'm Jarrett Cox, and I'll catch you down the road.